Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.
Exercise. The word alone can make you break into a sweat. But what if working out didn't have to be a battle of willpower, but something you actually looked forward to? What if working out could feel less like a chore and more like a party? What if you found yourself addicted to working out? Born in 2012, this brand's founders set out to do just that, make exercising fun. They took a piece of fitness equipment most people consider a place to hang laundry and turned it into a lifestyle, one that combines cutting-edge technology, motivational instructors, and a global community of riders. Because this brand doesn't just sell bikes, they sell a revolution. A revolution where sweat feels like a success, every class feels like an event, and no day is complete without a hop on the bike. With over $2.5 billion in revenue in 2023 and more than 6 million active users, it's clear that this brand has pedaled its way into our pumpin' hearts. And that's why this week's On Brand is on Peloton.
We're all jazzed up, nearly having a cow. You want your favorite show and it's on right now. It's on Brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa. I'm Jon.
I'm Marisa.
Okay. So we played a new game today. I raised my hand when I could figure out what the brand was. I got it about a third of the way in, I think. I knew what it was, but I couldn't remember exactly what the name was.
What was your guess what the name was?
I kept thinking Patreon. I was like, I know it's like Patreon. No, that's what we keep saying we're going to do. Patreon.
We're definitely not going to do Peloton.
I'm not doing Peloton. Peloton? Is it Peloton? What is it?
Peloton.
I work out a lot, so I should know this. Peloton. What a weird name. I hope we get the origin story of that.
It means a group of cyclists.
Oh, really?
Yes.
They don't have a fun name like a snorkel of geese, or
No.
Everything has like a cute little thing.
I mean, I guess they do. It's called a peloton.
Oh, I guess.
It's not a snorkel. No, it's a peloton. A group of cyclists is called a peloton. So you're getting a fun fact early.
But it should be like a wheelie of cyclists.
And then the company would be called Wheelie.
Yeah, now that's fun. That would get me on that bike. I know very little about it. I know they're expensive. I know that I think you get instructors, you connect with people on it, and it's how it killed Mr. Big. These are the things I know.
Can you ride a bike? I don't think I've ever seen you on a bike.
Babe, I had to smoke 40,000 cigarettes to get my mountain bike. Can I ride a bike? I don't know. It's in storage. Yes.
Did you rode the mountain bike one time?
A couple of times.
You on a bike? It seems so funny. I feel like it would be like that one shot in the Muppet movie where Kermit rides the bike and you like see his legs on the bike for the first time and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even think he could, like, that looks so funny.
I will say the handful of times I've ridden a bike, it feels psychotic. I feel
Kermit,
naked out in like the world. It feels so weird and raw.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to see it. I don't want to do it. I have a helmet on because I'm scared. I did have a very sad story. Let's start off sad.
Sure.
My piano teacher when I was young was wearing a helmet and on a bike and got hit by a car and then became a quadriplegic. Like it broke through his helmet and it was just awful. So I've had fears of bikes. So that's why I don't have a Pelican.
That's why. Because, I mean, on a Peloton, yeah, you would be in grave danger of like being in an accident.
They literally move around the room, right?
You would have a helmet on wearing on your Peloton.
Definitely have a helmet on.
Well, that's a good sad start. I would love to see you on a bike. I'd love to see you on a horse. I'd love to see you on a jet ski. I want to see you with something between your legs.
Okay, here's the thing. I've never been able to do anything where my feet are on wheels. I can't skateboard. I can't roller skate. I can't roller blade.
Al Pal can ride a unicycle.
Of course he can. He probably has one of those really tall ones and wears like an old-timey suit. Madame, I'm single. As he's eating a very dark square of chocolate with no lead in it. No, I can't do any of those.
Do you miss the taste of lead in chocolate? Do you find like, it's good, but something's missing? I think it's the lead.
The lead is what makes it taste so good. Jet skis, I will say. Jet skis, I do start off very timid, but I can ramp up to it. It's
not the best cardiovascular exercise riding a jet ski, but yes, it is fun and it's fast.
They're fun and fast, and it doesn't feel too dangerous because I have, of course, a vest on. But I do enjoy those. But most things, no.
You're not riding on really much of anything.
Not much. Like a ski lift? Not even a ski lift. I had to get on one of those with my dad, and we both got on at the same time. I swear the whole lift like swooped down, like we were just too heavy for it.
I can't believe the design in those hasn't changed. Like you could go again, I haven't been anywhere or done anything. I've never been skiing. I've never been on a ski lift. But in my mind, you could go to the ritzy glitziest place in Aspen, and the ski lift is somehow like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1979 from hell, rickety crickety Final Destination.
It's always like two very weathered ropes and like just a creaky old bench.
It should be like the Sky Tram from like Disney World, like where you're like in a little globe and you're like on a little, which by the way, I did that at Disney World, where you're in like the egg and you're flying like 10,000 feet over freeways. And
I wouldn't do that.
Crazy.
I'm not a thrill seeker. Or you see those things in Vegas where like you like go to the top of a tall building and you go down like a slide, and it's probably only like 10 feet, but like I don't think I could do that.
They have that in Vegas too. What's that, like a zip line? And there's like an indoor like zip line thing.
A part of me thinks I might be able to do like a jungle zip line where it's not like I'm okay. What? Support. We support each other.
I'm just based on everything you've said previously about, your fear of danger, speed, helmets.
But can't you control that? Don't you like clip, like you can kind of control the speed a little bit?
I don't think you control the speed.
Oh, you can't?
I think it's just gravity.
Oh, then maybe I can't. If I had like a thing, like a knob.
A throttle?
A throttle. I thought that you could pinch it and control the speed.
I don't think you can control. Al, can you control the speed on a zip line? He says no.
Maybe I'm thinking of people that scale down buildings.
Yeah.
They can control the speed.
You mean where you're like rappelling down the side of a mountain?
I couldn't do that. I can't do anything.
But jet ski.
And
boy, can you jet ski. You see John on a jet ski and you're like, you can be good at this.
Maybe I can do it.
Maybe you can.
Well, I'm very excited. This feels very on brand for just life. We're in the new year. People are trying to get fit again. We gave them a couple of... Well, I don't remember
we started the year with Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel and Target.
It's not the most like New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution is to eat at Cracker Barrel and shop at Target more.
Well, Target does have a lot of ads in January for
totally.
like a new weight set, new athletic wear.
It's very on theme. Exercising more is always one of the top New Year's resolutions. We've talked about it in the past. We don't subscribe to that. That's not where we're at. That's not our sphere of expertise.
I don't need a calendar to tell me when to work out.
Mm-hmm. What do you need? Al behind you with a whip?
Probably cash. Cold, hard cash. Well, I'm looking forward to this relatively new brand. Like I said, I don't know much about it. I know it's very hip. I thought that I had read recently that they were tanking. I'm curious to see if that's true. You gave some very impressive statistics for 2003. So I'm curious if something terrible happened in 2004.
Well, yeah.
But before we get into that, why don't this goes very hand in hand with what we're talking about. I haven't had a chance to bring this up in a long time. This lives at the top of my brand banter Google Doc. Jog Club. Where are we at with Jog Club? So you and Alistair last year made this huge declaration. You're going jogging every weekend. You're bonding. You're getting fit. Your heart's racing.
And, we don't subscribe, as you're saying, to this like New Year, January 1. That's when Jog Club started when?
I don't remember. I feel like
October?
It was in the fall.
I'll tell you what. My memory of Jog Club is that we had to stop because it was too hot out.
Okay.
So it is now...
So the heat broke probably in October. It's now mid-January.
You know what? I'll be honest. Jogging Club has fallen off a bit. And by that I mean we haven't been jogging in a few months. It lasted longer than I thought it would. And after doing all this Peloton research, I'm like... This might be the key to my my exercise success.
You're
But,
good.
yeah, but I'm busy. I'm on the go. I'm moving and shaking all day long.
You're a mother of 2.
There was a time where when I worked an office job, I would wake up, get in my car, sit in my car, drive, sit at my office 8 hours, drive home, sit on the couch, and literally like no move. You know the days where you like look at your phone, you're like, how many steps did I do today? It's like 12.
God, it's so humiliating. When I have those kind of jobs, the worst is on a Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Because at least those days I'm going to and fro car. But
To
then
and
I'll
fro.
look on Sunday and it'll be like you had 18 steps all day.
And yeah, a day where you had the option to move.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the days where I was like, man, I really should be exercising, but I'm moving and shaking all damn day. You know, actually what I'm going to focus on now, Al? Strength training and stretching.
Okay, so I'm gonna just quickly update my Google Doc here. I'm gonna call it Strength Club, and we will see how that goes.
Next time you see me and Al, we're absolutely busting out of our shirts. We're in tank tops.
Hold on, real quick. Today's what? The 19th, January 19th. Jog Club hashtag
Officially dead.
Got it. Okay, so that's all now canon.
It's all about strength and stretch.
Listen, you do you, and if you doing you means you want to be more like me, I embrace it.
The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
So talking about the fitness as like a category, as like a lifestyle element, that is relatively young. So fitness really started being like something on everyone's radar as a lifestyle in only the late 70s. So in the 50s and 60s, people would exercise, but it wasn't something you would like claim as like being like a hobby or like part of your personality until the late 70s when the first fitness craze was
James
jogging.
Fonda. Oh,
Jogging.
Jogging.
Jogging. That's why me and Al got into it, because that is like the last time we were following trends was the late 70s. That's where we are trend-wise. And that was the first time that had really picked up as like you're getting the clothes to go with the styles and everything. So with that in mind, it's kind of a young industry. So if you think about like where can like the exercise fitness space go, there's a lot of room to see how it evolves and where it ends up. So our story about Peloton begins with a man named John Foley. So he has previously worked for Evite, heard of him?
I have. I've been invited to many, many parties through Evite.
Through Evite, yeah.
Most people use paperless post.
Do you like that they can see when you've opened the invitation, even if you have an RSVP?
I don't. I usually won't open the invitation.
Really?
For that reason.
Because you don't
Till
want them
very
to know?
late. I feel bad. And then if I have a party and then I'm like, why aren't people opening them? And then I'm like, I'm going to start opening them when I get them. And then I don't. It's a cycle. I know it's bad.
Ticketmaster, another beef. We hate Ticketmaster.
We hate Ticketmaster. Hate Ticketmaster.
Hate. Capital H. And he even spent 6 years in manufacturing leadership with Mars Inc. So this guy has a lot of brands under his belt. John Foley invited his colleague Tom Cortese over to dinner, and it's 2011. So the only clip-clops we're hearing, Al, are from the movie Seabiscuit playing on a TV off in the distance.
There you go, boy. There it is. Have a nice ride, Johnny.
So John invites Tom over to pitch him on the idea that technology could make it possible for busy people to get the full experience of working out in a high-end studio cycling class in their home. So this is at a time, 2011, when indoor cycling classes are really starting to take off in big cities. There's Soul Cycle and Flywheel are two of the biggest ones. I've done maybe a Soul Cycle, definitely a Flywheel class.
What's Flywheel?
It's the same thing. It's like spinning.
What's Soul
Spin
Cycle?
class.
Oh,
Spin class.
Those seemed awful.
Awful. Beyond awful.
All of them seem bad. Now, I have definitely gone through periods, and laugh if you want, where I go to the gym and I'll be really into it for a few months. But I just do my own thing. I really enjoyed the elliptical to the point where I did buy an elliptical for $1,400.
Are you kidding? Like a new elliptical?
A very nice elliptical
Oh my
trainer.
God.
And it did become the harbor of clothing. It was a mountain of clothing for years. And then I had it probably for 15 years. And I was finally like, my apartment's very small.
I mean, you say you can't fit a nugget ice maker.
If I got rid of this, I would have more room. So I tore that thing apart, and my friend Scott and I dragged it outside. And within a half an hour, someone had taken it.
I'm just relieved to hear it's not in the unit, because that's a big footprint.
No, I would not have kept that. It was just a monster.
That's good self-awareness.
There's something about, I'm sure maybe if you have a nice house and you can have a dedicated gym room, living in a small apartment and just like waking up walking 1 foot and then getting on a machine and exercising and sweating, walking 3 feet to take a shower. It's like, what am I doing?
I know, it's a little rough. But these classes, these SoulCycle flywheel classes, they were expensive. So like one class is 45 minutes and it cost $35 for one class.
You know how many, this is 2011. You know how many Simpsons figures that is? You know how many different things you could buy with that?
I mean, and that was a long time ago. Things were cheaper. I imagine a like Frappuccino was probably like $3.75.
$3.45, I think,
and
actually.
now it's what, like $11?
My birthday one is, yeah. All the things.
Oh, every pump they have.
Every drizzle and thing you can put in it.
SoulCycle and Flywheel were so much of this like thing. It wasn't just like the exercise itself. It felt like it was unlike a regular gym experience. It was like the lights are off and like the music's pumping, and it was this kind of like experience with this kind of community. And it was so exclusive. To get into these classes, you would have to book a class weeks in advance. It was a really like weird cultural moment in time with exercise. I'm curious if any of our listeners like bought into this like SoulCycle flywheel thing, because it was like one of those just weird trends that like,
is this the same time as
with.
Crunch Gym? Wasn't Crunch Gym really hot around maybe this time?
Crunch Gym to me feels like later 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
But it was all kind of in the same spirit. I feel like SoulCycle, Flywheel, even Peloton is all versions of that. Like it's all part of the like, it's working out, but it's like cool. And it's also like, it's like fun and hot and like sexy.
Yeah.
So Foley and Cortese agreed that an at-home exercise bike outfitted with some sort of screen could allow customers to stream their favorite cycling classes anytime, anywhere. And at the time, Cortese, he's now 39, he's getting into fitness himself, he's training for triathlons, and he's doing cycling just recreationally. He's starting to think about how fitness can kind of fit into the modern lifestyle. This might be like at a time where more people are getting busier, they're hustling, they're trying to like squeeze in the workout in between like all their jobs and all their little things they have to do.
I will say that when I would work out at gyms, like I would often have like a mix. I would use like an iPod shuffle and I'd have a mix and I'd work out to it. But you do that enough, you know what songs come, you know where you are in the mix. And it would start to become like, oh, okay, I'm only on this song. I have 9 more songs. When I started watching television at the gym when I worked out, it did make it, I feel like that's kind of the precursor of this because it kind of like, you don't know what, you're watching the news or you're watching I Love Lucy or something. You don't know exactly where you're at in it. It's not so repetitive.
Yeah.
So I do think that it kind of took your mind off of the terrible tasks that you were doing.
I haven't even been in a gym in so long. Do they still have like big TVs where there's like 3 big TVs?
I mean,
or is it like a personal like iPad basically?
I haven't been since COVID, so who knows what's happened.
I mean, I haven't been in probably 15 years to a gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If you go to a gym, let us know. Are there 3 big TVs playing Entertainment Tonight on the wall?
Take a picture of it and send it to us. Are you kidding? Any of our listeners going to the gym are listening to us.
That's true.
There's nothing better to work out to than On Brand.
I hope somebody's working out right now. I hope so.
If you are, stop for a minute because there's a doozy coming.
So by December 2012, the company Peloton, which as I said is the name for a group of bicyclers.
Got it.
has raised $4 million. So with their, what? Bicyclers? What is it?
Cyclists.
Bicyclists?
Cyclists, right? Wow.
Bicyclers.
Look who...
I'm standing by it. It's bicyclers.
The tables have turned.
So now with this $4 million investment, they're able to get like a full team of staff, employees, a studio space, and their first like initial prototypes to test out the screen and how the bike's going to work. But they needed some more money to go into like full scale production. So where do they go? They're this website's biggest success story ever.
Shark Tank?
Kickstarter.
Oh.
I did not know that Peloton was a Kickstarter, but it is like
Okay.
their most successful Kickstart ever. How do we feel about Kickstarters?
I'm in the middle of a thing with Kickstarter. It's
You're
just
in the middle of a thing with
frustrating.
Kickstarter.
I gave money to this guy in 2000, I think, I'd have to look, 2019. And he still is not fulfilled on the reward. And we get it, but he's updated us so many times on why he hasn't been able to, and it's just become so exhausting. And I want them so bad, but yeah, that's my issue with Kickstarter.
What is it?
It's a set of clocks. This guy,
Wait, you told us about.
I told you about these clocks. So they're very cool clocks.
Yes.
I saw them for a very short time. He sold them in the Museum of Modern Art in New York.
Very cool online store if you're looking for a unique gift.
Yeah,
the MoMA store has
love
tons
it.
of fun stuff.
And he made this clock that it has one hand and it takes a whole year to go around. So his whole thing is about seeing time in different ways. So when you have this clock and you look at it, you're like, oh, it's spring. Like you look at it more of like time of year than you do time of day. He has since, for his Kickstarter, made 2 other clocks. He has one that takes the moon cycle. It takes like 29 days to go around. And then he has one that takes 24 hours a day. And it's just this beautiful trio of clocks. And they were expensive to do the trio. Like it was a lot. And now, I mean, it's taken so long, and with COVID and supply and chains and all that, it's costing him so much more to do it. Oh my God. So he's like, I can really only give you these. He's like, you can do one of 2 things. You can wait, and once I actually keep selling them to make enough money, you'll get them. It could be years. Or you can pay this other, not terribly small, but not terribly big amount of money and get them now, which I will probably end up doing.
Get them now. Get them now.
I will at some point.
Why is it taking so long to make these clocks?
He's a perfection. They're really exquisite clocks.
Well, maybe we'll give him a shout
You
out.
make a clock. See how long it takes.
Me and Al are gonna try to make a clock.
You do this on your own. I think maybe you do a couple things without Alistair.
I'm gonna buy a clock.
Because Alistair could make a clock.
I'm gonna buy a clock from Dollar Tree.
Okay, you do what you gotta do.
I'll screw it into a piece of wood.
There you go.
And I'll give it to you for the price of $350.
Oh, that's cheap.
How much did you pay for the clock?
Next.
How much?
Next.
No.
Next.
More than $350?
No, not per clock. There was about that per clock. It was like $900 for the 3 clocks.
Jesus Christ. So Peloton sold its first bike on Kickstarter in 2013 with an early bird price tag of $1,500. Their first internet-connected stationary bicycle with the tablet was finally released to the public in 2014. So they were able to get these bikes out there a year later. Send this to your clock guy if you want some inspiration.
Okay, they also had millions of dollars. This guy raised like 60 grand.
Peloton opened showrooms in shopping centers around the U.S. for people to test out the machines, and they say sales quickly soared for the classes, encouraged by the online community of riders. And then they had their original treadmill, Tread Plus, who are friend of the pod and friend in real life, Shepard, is a huge fan of. Got to shout out Shep, the Tread Plus. It was unveiled in January 2018 at the Consumer Electronics Show. It's their treadmill.
What is it?
You don't know that Shep goes on this Peloton treadmill like 3 times a day?
No. Shep and I send us pictures of like ugly things and say, this is you. He's not like just worked out.
He's probably on the treadmill when he's sending those. 2018, they wanted to expand into Canada, the United Kingdom. They created a flagship studio in New York City. In 2019, they were sued by the National Music Publishers Association, the NMPA, for copyright infringement for the music in the exercise video. So this is kind of that like murky area. It's like YouTube kind of went through this too. It's like, what are the rules about like using other people's music in your stuff?
As someone as an Emmy Award winning documentarian, music is hard.
Yeah.
Music will bite you in the ass every day. It is the hardest thing to license. It's so expensive. There's so many people involved for every song. Of course they got sued.
Of course, I believe it. So the lawsuit, they sought more than $300 million in damages from Peloton. They settled the lawsuit in February 2020 for an undisclosed amount. So we don't know how it worked out, but they agreed to collaborate on the music licensing processes because that's the whole point, is like you need like to hear Bruno Mars when you're working up a sweat. The coolest, most current artist I can think of, Bruno Mars.
Nothing about pop music. And that's like, you saw him on a commercial, or he must have, he's hosting something.
I mean, 8 years ago, I saw him on a commercial. Yeah. I don't really think about music. We were talking about this the other day because I don't really care about music. I think I like it as like ambiance. Like I think C's candy stores should have music playing to contribute to the ambiance. But
the woman who cares nothing about music thinks the one place where they don't encourage music should have music. I think grocery stores should have music. I like music as like atmosphere. I like music in the same way I like a candle. Like I'm not using a candle for heat, but I like the atmosphere that it brings. But I don't, if I'm like folding laundry, I would put on a podcast. I like hearing people talking more than I like music. That's my truth. I mean, I don't get it because I love music so much.
You still to this date have not listened to a podcast.
I have 2. I listened to Serial. Was that it? Serial?
Yeah, but that was like 11 years ago.
Yeah, I listened to Serial, and I'm trying to listen to more now.
Yeah, okay.
But that made me think of candles. You said you don't use candles for heat. So I used to have an annual Christmas party every year. Can you believe it? Can you believe that I have my annual Christmas party?
It'd be interesting if you had it twice a year.
And it would grow in people. And again, this was in my very small apartment. It very quickly spilled out where I had to entertain outside and inside. And I would have I started to do giveaways. I would make a really great Christmas CD every year and blah, blah, blah. And then one year I was like, oh, my theme for the Christmas party this year is going to be 100 lights. So I decided to burn 100 candles in my apartment, like tea light. I had candles everywhere.
Very hazardous.
It was so dangerous. Within a half an hour, I'm drenched in sweat. You couldn't go anywhere in the house. It was so freaking hot. I had to go around and blow out almost all the candles.
That reminds me of when we went and stayed at an Airbnb together, and you were sleeping in the living room. You were sleeping in a room, I think, with me and Al, but you were snoring too much. Someone was snoring. It was an issue. So you moved to the living room, and it had a fireplace.
Yeah.
And you would wake up every couple hours and throw a log on.
Because I love fireplaces.
The ambiance. You just loved it. The crackle. We all know what we love about fireplaces.
I was literally roasting myself in the middle of the night. I'm glazed. I was just in a pool of sweat.
We came out in the morning. The room was 150 degrees. You were bright red, dripping with sweat. But
it was I was on ayahuasca or something.
You were well lit. It was, gorgeous. Gorgeous. September 26, 2019, Peloton officially became a publicly traded company with the valuation of the company at $8.1 billion.
These things, okay, I gotta say, valuations to me are starting to become if I lined up all the Pelotons between here and they go to the moon, how?
What does it mean?
Yeah, it's you just got sued for $300 million, but you're worth $8 billion, but we're in the hole this year, $200 million.
I don't
know.
Netflix is $20 billion in debt, yet it's probably evaluated at $100 billion.
Yeah,
I think it's potential earnings down there. If we were evaluated at $8.1 billion, I wouldn't be casting it a side eye.
I have potential. What am I worth? I got to be worth something.
We got to be worth something. You might remember this. In November 2019, the company released a holiday commercial called The Gift That Gives Back. Do you remember this?
Definitely not.
So there was a wife played by a lovely actress named Monica Ruiz, and in the commercial, she receives a Peloton bike for Christmas.
Oh, I remember
husband.
this.
Yes.
Everyone got so mad at this.
Everyone got so mad about this. And if you haven't seen the commercial, so she gets a gift for Christmas from her husband, and she doesn't imply that she's not it's what I asked for. And again, I'll say I don't have an issue with this commercial.
I gotta say, I remember watching it to see what all the hubbub was about, and also feeling like I didn't have an issue with it.
Yeah, I feel and you know who else didn't have an issue with it? Gayle King.
Oh. Shep.
Shep probably didn't either.
Shep would send me a picture of Gayle looking bad and be like, that's you.
That's your only reference of Peloton is through the eyes of Shep. So Gayle King didn't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. If you're not familiar with the commercial, so she gets this gift of a Peloton bike from her husband for Christmas. And then she's oh God, am I really doing this? I'm hopping back on. I can't believe it. I'm riding the bike again a whole week straight.
The issue was that people were saying that her husband was basically saying, you're not good enough. Here's a gift to make you better for me.
Yeah, or that she is supposed to be working out so she looks better for him. She doesn't want this bike. But to me, I'm it seems like a nice gift.
It's expensive.
It's an expensive gift.
Get a store credit.
Peloton, of course, they defended the ad, saying that it was just intended to celebrate a fitness and wellness journey, and that it was inspired by how its users were often meaningfully and positively impacted after purchasing or being gifted a Peloton bike or treadmill, often in ways that surprise them. And I believe that. I feel like if that came out now, I don't know if anybody would think it was particularly offensive.
Yeah, I have no problems with it.
And then 2020 comes around. We all remember what happened, COVID pandemic, a bad time for the world at large, but a very good time to be an at-home exercise bike company.
Yeah, I would assume they thrived.
They thrived. So during 2020, Peloton sales soared by 250%. The stock rose by more than 400%.
Their valuation was up to $16 trillion.
It probably was. They did more than $714 million in revenue. In 2020, that more than doubled to $1.82 billion. Again, over $4 billion in 2020. So $4 billion in 2021 in revenue. John Foley literally became a billionaire overnight.
On paper or in the bank?
Well, sales were pumping. It was actual sales, but then they had to adapt and we hate these words, but supply chain.
Yeah.
Do you feel like companies are still milking the supply chain excuse? I feel like I still get that once in a while. I
think companies are starting to feel the backlash with it. I got a bag of Trader Joe's old-fashioned potato chips today because I had Jersey Mike's, and sometimes I like to indulge and slip a few chippies in it. And they're close to each other, so sometimes when I get my Jersey Mike's, I walk over to Trader Joe's and get a bag of chips.
Because you're not buying the overpriced bag of chips from Jersey Mike's. When right next door there's a Trader Joe's.
A 2-ounce bag of chips for $3 or a giant bag for $1.69.
Okay, smart shopper.
I was shocked when I got home how heavy that bag was, because now we're so used to, like, if you have a bag of Lay's, it's a big bag, not many chips in it. Apparently, they're finally starting to say, okay, we have been cheating you. They're promising to add more chips into it.
Wow.
Just like McDonald's has brought back their McValue menu.
Okay.
I feel like companies are now, whether or not they're actually doing it, they're trying to make it look like they're reversing.
They have to compete with everybody who is now only eating at Red Lobster since that CEO took over and he's revamped the whole menu.
You're obsessed with that, and we haven't been since he did it, but we've got to go over.
Back.
Apparently, they tong you biscuits as you walk in the door.
Do they really?
He's like, the second you're in this building, I mean, not really, but as soon as you sit down.
I love that.
You're supposed to have a hot Cheddar Bay biscuit.
We have to go as an update because last time we went was like in the pit of their like decline. So we have to go.
Yeah, 60 pounds of disgusting shrimp. We got to go back and spend another $20 to get it again.
I bet you gave to a woman who was under a bridge.
I ate 12 shrimp, and I'm like, I'm good. And the waitress like, what's wrong with you people?
Why are you here? You could have gone to like a regular restaurant and gotten just like one portion.
Yeah, just get one shrimp cocktail down the street.
Yeah, that was foolish.
Wait, so before you go any further, like you're talking about that commercial. So my understanding is people that get this, like, do you like subscribe to like a specific trainer? Like, do you have like, I feel like I remember people saying like, oh, she's my, like, are there celebrities that are teaching you how to do it? Like, what do you do?
What's the hook?
Yeah.
Well, it's an exercise bike, but the tablet basically that you're following, it has live and recorded studio classes with instructors. So it's basically like you can log on to like the classes happening right now, or you could access like this digital library of hundreds, thousands of other previous classes, and you can kind of like race against other people who are also on the Peloton at the same time as you. And that's a big part of it. That's like you're paying for the bike, which is at the time, $1,500, and you would also pay the monthly subscription. Now, I don't know what it was then. Now it's like $44 a month to get access to all these classes. So it sounds like a lot of money, but when you thought that the one class at SoulCycle was $35, there's a way to like feel like, oh, that actually is a good deal. But that's what has people coming back, is this kind of like the streaks in the gamification of it, where you have to like race against other people, and that some people get really into that, and they have like their favorite instructors and stuff as well.
And is there like, can you do it like, you're just looking at like beautiful scenery, like I'm biking through the Alps and
you can do that also. That's what Alpal's dad prefers to do.
Oh, okay.
Is the scenic rides.
You know what this feels like to me? This feels like, and I would be shocked if it was not inspired by the Nintendo Wii.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I feel like the Nintendo Wii became very popular in the late mid 2010s, early, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's like combining cyber game world with physical movement.
Yeah.
Did you get into a Wii?
I did. For a small time, I bought it. It's like, what? I'm in my 2-foot apartment bowling alone, though. It's like, I try to bowl and I knock over a vase. It's
did you put the wrist strap on, or did you live life on the edge?
Babe, I had a helmet on. Yes, I had the wrist strap on. You think I'm going to freestyle the bowling? No. I can't wrist throwing that thing across.
Yeah, that's true. That was really risky. Is that like, where did the Wii go? That was great.
I know, and I feel like it just disappeared, and now it's the Switch, and it's like everyone just started switching.
I'm ready to Wii again.
You know what is in my storage unit?
What?
A Wii.
Hey, bring it over.
I gotta bring it out.
Let's have fun.
Dust it off.
I challenge you to a game of bowling.
The worst was, now I just want to talk about the Wii. The worst was making your me. I could not make one that looked like me, man.
I feel like we got pretty close on the Switch.
Maybe on the Switch we did.
Peloton, obviously, there's a lot of hardware, software. Hardware means like the pedals and stuff, right? And then software is like the circuit board. So there's like hardware and software. I was laughing, but I think that means I'm right. There's a lot of hardware and software, and
Listen
that's all
to the names.
Impacted by it's like hard, like physically hard.
This is the hardware.
But then software, it doesn't mean like it feels physically soft. It's like the circuitry.
Are these real questions?
I was laughing. That means I'm right. So the hardware and the software, all that stuff is impacted by the supply chain. So 2020, they have this unprecedented demand, and then they have to, I was still laughing. I'm still right. They have to try to keep up with this. And this is when they have their first.
She's like, if I talk fast enough and give them enough information, this won't be embarrassing.
I think I'm not embarrassed by
iOS,
anything.
That's the software.
Yeah, so hardware and software. That's right. I was right. So the company, they had to pay out of pocket for expensive shipping to get bikes and treadmills to at homes as fast as possible. And they still had unexpected delays. So people were really frustrated. This was their perfect time to be like the biggest company in the world. And then they were letting everyone down with these like shipping problems, supply chain stuff.
Like my clocks.
Like your clocks. And then Peloton overestimated demand as the restrictions from the pandemic lifted and people started, God forbid,
going out.
They want to exercise outside again.
We were just craving to get out of the house.
They wanted to be heavily breathing in a crowded room of 30 people.
Without a mask on.
Without a mask on an exercise bike. And so then Peloton ended up with extra inventory and not enough sales to support. So the Hazingas start rolling now. They had some scandals, some injuries involving the treadmill. Somebody said like they weren't specific about what the injury was, but they said the seat kept popping off. And I just imagine like the pole going up someone's butt. I don't think that's what it was.
Wow, that would be painful.
But that's what I imagine it was. So that was kind of like, now the Hazingas are starting to roll out. It's like supply chain overproduced. They have like warehouses with like piles and piles of Pelotons. They can't get them out enough. Stock plummets. Recalls from seat poles going up people's butts. Don't quote me on that.
Oh boy.
And John Foley was a billionaire for a very short period of time. Now, in less than a year, he's no longer a billionaire.
He's only got $300 million.
He has like $999 million. And then December of 2021, on the first episode of the Sex and the City reboot, and just like that, the character Mr. Big, what happened?
I don't want to give any spoilers if you haven't seen it. I mean, it has been out for 3 years. But that was how Mr. Big finally died. It was a sad, like, I remember watching this. Like, I'm obviously, I don't know if we've talked about it. You know what surprised me about this show? I did Target last week, and so many people are like, I thought you already did Target. I can't believe you haven't done Target. You guys talk about Target every episode. And in my head, I'm like, we do? Like, I don't feel like I ever talk about Target. I don't think I'm aware about what we always talk about because people do seem to know what we really like. Like right now, I have no idea if people know how much I like Sex and the City, but I love Sex and the City.
We've probably talked about Target and Sex and the City 10 times already in this episode, and we've already forgotten.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, how do you know this about me? But I've probably seen every episode a million times. So then that reboot came on. If you're not a fan or whatever, they did Sex and the City. And then years later, they did this new show called And Just Like That. The first episode of Just Like That comes on. Big and Carrie are finally married. They're living their best life in New York City. They're rich. She goes to
What could go wrong?
Charlotte's stupid daughter has her music recital. And Carrie, Big wanted her to stay home. And Carrie goes and watches the music recital. Oh my God, I'm getting teary because it was like done so beautifully. You have this little girl like playing the piano, this really intense piece, and you keep cutting to Mr. Big on this Peloton, and he's like sweating because he's like, am I saying it wrong?
Yes.
Pelican. And he's like flying on this bird, and he's like, I'm gonna get fit, and it keeps cutting back to Carrie, and then like he like clenches his heart and he dies and he falls to the floor, and Carrie comes home and he's laying on the thing and he's all wet, and then like I do feel like he wasn't dead when she got there, and she took a long time to call 911, but he died. And like, I remember when it was happening, it's like, wait, Mr. Big's not going to die, is he? There's no way they're going to kill him. And then they did. And I got to say, I was surprised.
Did you cry in the episode?
Yeah, I don't know if I cried, but I definitely got welled up.
I think it was pretty shocking.
It was shocking.
It was shocking to fans of Sex and the City, and it was very shocking to Peloton.
Oh, they did not know. They probably spent a lot, like, to have product placement.
They agreed to the product placement, but they did not know how the Peloton would be used in the scene.
That seems like something you would, I don't think they would have gotten it if they're like, listen, main character gonna on your device.
Definitely not. The day after the episode aired, their stock fell 11.3%.
No.
Yes.
And I gotta say, for Sex and the City, they really dodged a ball there because I don't know if you remember, Mr. Big, the actor, Chris Noth, he kind of got...
He got a little in trouble. And I'll say that, so that episode came out. Peloton took a big hit. They issued a statement. They had like their on staff, like cardiologist or whatever, their like wellness advisory person say that, this is very, very funny to me. They said that the Peloton is not the reason for Mr. Big's death. that based on his lifestyle, his consumption of steaks and cigars. And in previous seasons, he had cardiac surgery. So that's what officially Peloton is saying. They're saying it wasn't the Peloton that killed him. Mr. Big liked to smoke cigars and eat steaks, and he had heart surgery.
Oh, that wasn't HBO saying that?
No, that was Peloton official.
That's really funny.
And they responded. They had kind of, I guess, like a cute way of responding. They released an ad with the actor Chris Noth, who played Mr. Big, and a very popular Peloton instructor, Jess King, who, sidebar, is Shep's favorite Peloton instructor.
Wow, this is all
Let's just say he's got 2 reasons why she's his favorite Peloton instructor. The ad was narrated by Ryan Reynolds, and it ended with Ryan Reynolds. It was like Chris Noth and Jess King on the couch, and they were kind of like by a fire, and it's almost like kind of flirtatious. They're like, should we go for another ride? It was like almost like sexually innuendoed. And then at the end of the ad, Ryan Reynolds says, and just like that, he's alive.
Oh, well, that's good.
Which was cute. But then the ad was removed shortly after because Noth was accused of sexual assault by 2 women.
What
so
a
Peloton
ride.
can't get you a break. It's like they try to get in on the fun. They're like, they turn it around. They're like, haha, we're in on the joke. And then it's like,
I wish this had been one of those like social media wars where they posted that like, no, this is why he died. He smoked. He had heart surgery. Yes. And then HBO wrote back, no, he died because he was on.
He had just had a checkup and he was actually very healthy before he got on the Peloton.
You know, that scene, it's so dumb, but I'm also a big fan of Star Wars. And I just remember when I was watching it, like Sarah Jessica Parker is a very small actress. And Chris is kind of like a big guy. And she was on the floor with him, like holding his head. It was very reminiscent of Luke Skywalker holding Darth Vader's head. I was like, it's like this tiny person holding this giant head who's like powerful person that we've seen for so long dying. So
Did you make like a side-by-side meme and put it in the
I have a mural at my house of the 2 moments of pop culture history.
Very significant pop culture moments. So the cascade of problems. Hazingas abound. Some their fault, some not their fault.
Side note, if you don't know what a Hazinga is, listen to the Blockbuster episode. We're never going to say what it is anymore. You just have to listen to Blockbuster.
You should have already if you're at this point. The co-founder and CEO, John Foley, then has to step down in February of 2022. He's replaced by Barry McCarthy, who's a former Spotify and Netflix executive. Barry comes in, he lays off thousands of employees, he's hiking up prices, they're closing a bunch of retail stores to kind of take on this like post-pandemic slump where basically we've seen that where like a brand will overexpand and then has to react. We haven't talked about Joann's closing. Anyway, that's something else.
Joann's is closing?
Yes.
They are?
Yes.
Not shocked, but they are?
The last time I was in a Joann's was fall of last year, and it was repulsive.
The last time I was in a Joann's, I was buying everything you could possibly ever need to make cake balls. I never used any of it, and all of that is in storage.
That'd be a good, like, giveaway. Your cake ball kit.
What? Giveaway? I had not heard about Joann's.
Yeah.
Wait, can we have a moment of silence?
Okay. Last time I was there was a human poop outside.
Oh. In Glendale one?
It was rough. It was really rough. August 2022, the company announced it would start selling its bikes and gear through Amazon to just increase their distribution.
Ew.
They're just like, they're desperate. They're trying everything. They're just trying to get out there. They were in Costco when I was there like last month.
Ew. You had to buy 3 Pelicans? So did they had retail stores?
They had like retail stores where you, like a showroom store.
Nobody wants that. This is what, you know what other retail store I do not get?
What?
Tesla.
How do they fit the car through the door?
Why is that car in the middle of the Americana? Like, I think I'm gonna grab a cupcake and I guess $100,000 car. Like, who's doing this?
It does seem crazy.
It's insane.
I don't go to the mall. To buy a car.
No, I'm next door at Tesla at the extra 40% off the anthropology sale.
Yeah, we're in a way different demographic.
Yeah.
At this point, Peloton's earnings call the same month, they disclosed that they have lost $1.2 billion in the fourth quarter.
This is what I was hearing last year, I think. All this, the downfall.
They're looking to sell used inventory.
Oh,
it's a top priority.
They're repurposing them. Now they're just selling them as TVs.
Get a tiny weird TV that only plays exercise videos. It's very weird. May 4th, 2024. Now we're kind of coming up to date. Barry McCarthy, who was the current CEO,
May 4th? You mean...
May the 4th be with you?
Yeah.
Sorry. On May the 4th be with you, 2024, the CEO resigns and also announced a 15% reduction in its workforce. So this is what you would see as like a tanking. This is like Joann's like 1 year ago is what you would think. At this same time, they lost 3 of the company's star instructors.
No.
Kristen McGee, Kendall Toole, and Ross Rayburn. And this is where I'm going to just take a moment to say that for a lot of people, the instructors are like one of the main reasons why they love Peloton.
That's the only reason I use it.
It's a really kind of like weird, bizarre, almost like culty kind of thing where they like these spin instructors like become celebrities and they have like their go-to catchphrases. It's very curated in a way where it feels kind of like culty corporate control. Like their social media is really like for the same format. Like they're putting them up as these like celebrities to represent the brand. Like one of them, it was like her baby announcing her baby was posted to the Peloton Instagram.
Ew.
It feels very like that documentary about like the dancers who were in a cult. You know what I mean? They were like TikTok dancers. They were in a cult.
They're like, we'll give you a lot of diapers.
It feels like a lot like that. It's very, very weird. If you do Peloton, I was like reading someone's assessment about like how valuable these instructors are. And they were saying like, without them, there is no Peloton. They're tremendously valuable, at least within the Peloton universe. They're meticulously individualized. So they're almost like characters. So like if you're very similar to another Peloton instructor, they kind of like want to like, well, what makes this like this doll different? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like Jess King, Shep's favorite, she's like the rave girl. Alex Toussaint is the drill sergeant. Robin Arzon gives you some type A tough love. Ben Aldis is a Ken doll. Emma Lovewell just wants to chill. Ali Love is giving youth sermon. Sam Yo is the buff ex-Buddhist monk. It's like they're all like these little
Is there just
meeples.
like a dad bod guy? Just like a guy who doesn't do it that often? That
you know,
I can
you
look
might
up to?
like Dennis. He's the silver fox.
I don't. You don't
Cody's
know
the
me.
gay friend. Cody Rigsby is the number one. If you know anything about Peloton instructors, you've heard the name Cody Rigsby. He's like their number one guy. And he's like energetic gay bestie.
Okay. Like me. He's the me of that world.
Energetic.
Yeah. Gay bestie.
Yeah.
Does he have a storage unit?
He probably doesn't have a storage unit. That's his one shortcoming. So a lot of them were from like, they were Soul Cycle teachers, but they were kind of like cast to be like these charismatic types. And a lot of them were from the dance world. So they were like really performery because when you're exercising, they also like motivate you. And they have like I said, they have their little catchphrases. And it felt very like Backstreet Boys or like One Direction, like kind of like casting this like super group. It's really weird.
Love it. As the company starts to like slowly slide down, those characters also kind of became lamer and lamer. Like we're the Big Lot shopper. We're like the IKEA cashier.
I think they should get weirder. And I think it should be like, I'm from Neptune. It should be somebody like in like silver body paint, and they are only in character as like a Martian.
I have one leg, but I can still do it. And she just hops on the thing.
That'd be good. I wouldn't be surprised if they had one leg.
I mean, they should.
They should if they want to be inclusive. That's worth mentioning because like that is what separates it from like, and there's been imitators like Equinox has tried to make an exercise bike. A lot of these other companies have tried to make exercise bikes, but that is what sets it apart is their like cast of performers more so than instructors. That's what I'll say.
Equinox, that's a whole nother one, man. I knew someone that belonged to Equinox. That seemed like a real scam.
I did that for a bit, like way back in the day. A real long, luxurious shower there. Oh, man.
One of my favorite moments in Broad City, if you haven't watched the Broad City show, Equinox, she would get into an Equinox and they had Kiehl's products in the bathroom and she would just bring a garbage bag and squirt it all into the garbage bag.
I definitely did versions of that. Yeah. I mean, unlimited pumps on Kiehl's and you're like 22, like you can't be trusted.
Shutters in Santa Monica, it's a hotel my friends' parents would always stay in when they came here. They had Aveda products. So when we went there, we would raid that cart, man. Just clinking out with 100 little bottles of shampoo.
You know, it's funny, like, I'm not really super, like, stingy about a lot of things. But for some reason, if I'm at a hotel, when I'm checking out, I'm taking every Q-tip, every shower cap.
Everything that I have paid for. That's how I am on the airplane. That's why when they say, do you want nuts, cookies, or granola bar? I say all
three,
of them.
bitch,
and an unopened Diet Coke. All of it.
I don't know why I feel like compelled to do that. It's like, I don't need like a small plastic comb.
No. I will say it is a great thing if you don't use those things, always take them and give them to someone in your community that could use them.
That's true. It's like good for a little toiletry kit to donate for sure. Yeah. I don't know. I get very, very hoardery and very stingy about that kind of stuff.
Are you ever tempted to take, I mean, I never have.
Okay.
I'm going to put that out there first.
Okay.
But have you ever been in a hotel when you're walking down the hall and you're like, wow, they're really getting rid of most of their meal and it looks untouched? Have you ever been like, that bacon doesn't look like it's been touched?
You know what I have done?
The jam or the ketchup?
Sure, I'll take jams or ketchups. If the table, we've done this, or maybe you were with me.
The pens.
I've taken pens from hotels, sure. The table next to me at a restaurant, they look like nice people. They get up and leave, didn't finish their pizza.
Yeah.
I'll take a few slices.
It's just going to get tossed.
Because it's that weird thing where it's like, oh, because I know that, like if I knew them, if it was like, oh, Shelly, oh my gosh, hi. Oh, we're eating here too. Can I have a slice? Like, why would that make it any less gross?
Well, and there's just so many places where food is like, I mean, that no one would let that get thrown away.
And you don't touch all the slices.
No.
You don't go around and pinch every crust before you settle on one.
No.
Well, my mom used to work cleaning hotel rooms, and she would always eat the food that people left on the tray outside the room.
If it had not been bit out of, right?
I mean, it was the 70s.
Wow. Yeah, that is true. It was a different time.
It was
Good
a different
for her.
time. We didn't have like the same knowledge we have now.
Right.
January 1st, 2025. We're like kind of up to date right now.
That's now.
Peter Stern, former Apple VP of Services, became CEO. So he's the one who got Apple Fitness, what's it called? Like Apple Fitness Plus. I'm always like, skip. Anytime I see that pop up anywhere.
Yeah.
I just know it's not relevant to me. Anyway, he made that. And so now he's in charge of Peloton.
Good for him.
As of last week, they're inviting users to beta test an immersive gaming-inspired cycling experience, which is in competition with a Zwift, which I guess is like where you ride a bike and pretend you're in a game.
Sounds like a Wii.
This is more Wii. You're so right. This is more Wii. And
Yeah.
it's like that same thing where you have like your little cartoon you and you're like riding up a hill, hopping over stumps. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, that's a Wii.
yeah, it's all Wii. It all comes back to Wii. Last week, they announced that there's going to be a brand new Peloton by Target collaboration.
Okay.
Full circle moment. Don't we love that?
I'm in. I'm going to do a drive up and they have to drag out that Pelican to my car.
You panic, buy a Pelican.
Oh,
Yeah.
and a gallon of milk.
Stop buying Target milk.
No, I have to pick some up when I leave here today.
No, you're buying milk tonight?
Yes.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
out. I need it for my coffee.
You just do milk and coffee? Not half and half?
No, I've switched to just milk.
Wow.
Shot of espresso that I make with my little thing that you introduced me to.
Oh, well, that's a latte. Yeah, that would be milk.
And then milk.
Whole, 2%? What are we drinking?
Whole. Target whole milk.
God. You lost me at Target, but you had me back at whole. So this is the weird thing about Peloton. Despite all of these like hazingas, all these blunders, a significant majority of Peloton users, around 90%, keep their memberships for more than a year. They have a really, really high retention rate.
You know why? I mean, that's just basic exercise membership because nobody wants to quit it because they feel like that makes them a failure. They always feel like in the back of their mind, no, I'm going to get back into it as soon as the marriage settles down or my job gets a little like less crazy. I'll get back into it. If I cancel it, it's gonna cost more to like reinstate
Sure,
it.
yeah.
It's the perfect crime.
It's the perfect crime. This I found interesting. There's a metric called the Net Promoter Score. So this is used to measure customer loyalty and satisfaction. It's a survey. They ask customers basically, how likely are you to recommend this to a friend? In 2017, Peloton's NPS was number 2 out of all brands.
No,
It was. It was at
there had to be a
91.
caveat, like all exercise
No,
brands.
it was 91. Tesla was number 1. It was at 92. And Peloton was second.
Wait,
and
what was number 1?
Tesla. And that was like with like Apple, Netflix, all these brands that people are likely to recommend.
Are you sure this wasn't just for a list of brands that are, it's weird that they have stores?
It was not, though it is interesting that both of those oddly have stores in malls. In 2020, it had gone down to 83. 2021, it had gone down to 70. 2024, last year, their net promoter score was all the way down to 32.
Nobody wants it.
I don't know what's happening. I polled friend of the pod, Beth, who I know loves the Peloton and is very devoted, been using it for 5 years, to say, like, what is it about this that like sets us apart? She's somebody who has never liked to exercise, like never once got excited about PE, gym membership, any form of exercise, and has been a dedicated Peloton user for 5 years, like at least 3-5 times a week. She's riding the Peloton.
Okay.
Whatever they've tapped into, this kind of like community feel, it's almost like religion adjacent. It's almost culty adjacent. You got to get your streak going. You're on a team. You got your ride that you got to like rise up the leaderboard. Whatever they figured out, it undeniably works. So I feel like if they can turn it around, I'm not saying I'm the person for the job, but I think I might have what it takes. Beth described how it felt like it's changed, like if she could track a difference, that it's like it feels less kind of homey and like it feels very like corporate and commercialized now. And if I am hired as the new CEO, I will return the soul back to Peloton. I don't know how to do it, but I will.
Would you be willing to change the name to Pelican?
Yes. You're hired, VP of production.
Of naming?
Yes.
You know, I don't try to solve Hazingas often, but they're clearly in the dumps. Why don't they try to take what they're doing and combine it with all the scooters that we see, like a bird or so now we have scooters that have screens on them. So then you can get around town and exercise.
So you're looking at an exercise class
you're looking
while
down
you're
at a screen,
zipping through the streets of Los Angeles.
Yes,
with a helmet on.
With a helmet on.
We're very pro helmet.
And your Wii strap, so you can pull at the same time.
I think this is a really, really good idea.
Thank you.
And I'm 120% on board.
That's
I think there's hope. And I will say I left all of this research. Like if you Google like addicted to Peloton, a ton of things come up. Like people are like, they get obsessed with it. And I kind of got a little brainwashed by all the Peloton talk.
I didn't.
And the obsession. I mean, I spent more time with it than you did.
I've spent enough.
I looked at videos. I looked at pictures. I looked at Jess King's 2 best attributes.
Wait, I do want to look at this gay guy really quick. And that is how I will decide if I'm on brand or off brand.
Okay, Cody Rigsby.
Cody Rigsby.
Let me know what you think. He's really enthusiastic.
Off brand.
When people like find out that they're meeting a gay guy and they're expecting it to be like that, and then it ends up being like you, do you feel like you've let them down? Like, because it's like, hey,
what
girl.
What a horrible thing to say.
I mean,
have you ever said anything worse to me?
What do you think I mean by that?
This guy's all teeth. If I showed up to dinner and those teeth were looking at me, I'd be like, bro, I'm out. I'm going to go TikTok.
But I feel like he was put through almost like the Disney Channel like machine of like, this is your gay bestie. You know what I mean? And like he's fulfilling what people want from that role. When really, gay men could be anything. They could have a storage unit.
Let's do a freak poll.
They could have
Who
a
do you
folded
pick?
bike.
Cody Rigsby or John Glover? I have a feeling I'm going to win this one.
I mean, you obviously, you know where I stand.
No, actually, I don't, because that was horrible.
I'm not saying that
that
Cody's
is
better.
Horrible.
I'm not saying Cody's better, but
basically that would be like me saying if someone went to dinner and they had a date with someone that was pretty, and then you showed up.
That's not at all what I'm saying.
That's what it felt like.
He's the stereotype.
It was hurtful.
He's a stereotype of a gay bestie.
He does nothing for me.
You don't want to.
I want nothing from Cody.
Give him
nothing. Beep that out. People don't know.
Nobody's figured it out. I haven't looked at it in a while. Let me see. Look at him. He's got a lot of teeth.
Yeah, he's all teeth.
I mean, this.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's what I'm looking at.
That's a lot.
Tommy Tooth over here. No thanks.
Oh, we love Cody. So, John, I will wrap it up by asking, is Peloton
off-brand? I mean, no, there's nothing. I wasn't interested in it before the show. I know more about it now, but I'm just as interested now. Zero. I don't care about it. I won't look at it. I won't research it. I'm off-brand. What about you?
You know, I can't say it's like a hard-on brand for me because it's never crossed my mind to get one. And we know how I feel about exercise. I mean, jogging club.
I feel like by the time this
jogging club,
our podcast wraps up, you're going to be on a Pelican with your Crocs, like holding a windy. You're going to have all the things we've talked about.
If I found somebody giving one away, would I take it? Yeah.
If there was one on the curb, you would spend the time to drag it over here?
I would drag it over.
I mean, I probably would too.
Yeah, like you're not dragging over a Pelican on the curb.
I start Pelican in my yard. So it is on brand for you.
It's a soft on brand.
Yeah.
I'm open. I'm brand curious. Mm-hmm. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
I'm brand curious.
That's fair.
And for the record, I would pick you over Cody Rigsby any day.
Don't even try. It's too late.
You think I want to be potting with Cody Rigsby?
I'm going to be angry for another 12 minutes about this. And then when everyone hears it, all of our listeners are going to turn on you. Everyone's pulled over now.
The fact that you think it's even a competition. I mean, John, come on.
He looks like I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't want to bring hate into the world.
Well,
we're just different people.
You're just different, but that's what I mean.
I would like to think someone would be happy if I showed up. Oh.
John, everybody is happy that you show up. They want more of you.
Let's do the Wheel of Freaks.
Here's him shirtless. Maybe you'd like that.
No, that's not I like a dad. Not like a dad, but like a dad bod. Not like a daddy. Beep all that out. Well, thank you. That was a very interesting show. I learned so much about it. I do like that you picked brands that I would never pick.
I almost felt like you would be mad.
No, not at all. I mean, it makes sense with I love a fitness brand in January.
Yes, it's very on theme.
We got to do at least one of those. So thank you very much. Very fun show. Before we go, I want to give out our shout outs to our Freaks of the Week. If you don't know, every Wednesday on our Instagram story, I post an Insta Egg, which is a puzzle that lets you figure out what our brand is going to be for that week. If you figure it out and you let us know, your name gets added to our Wheel of Freaks. I spin the wheel and I pick 5 Freaks of the Week. This week, that honor goes to the following people: Chris Mills, Drew Keller, John Willis, Just Jay, and Steve Steffen. I think that's how you say your last name, Steve. Steve we write a lot now. I met him through the pod. Very nice guy. Him and his daughter listen to the show together, or I think in different states, but they talk about the show. He enjoys movies and all the brands that we do. So
he's a super freak.
He's a super freak. So congratulations, guys. You are our Freaks of the Week. Thank you so much. And be sure to check out the Insta Egg every Wednesday on Instagram.
While we're giving shout outs, I want to give some shout outs to some very lovely freaks who've left us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcast. Jen Schneide said, loyal listener here. We light up her life with every episode. She's shocked we have only had at the time 1,000 Instagram followers. How about that? Howie Loop says, great show, great chemistry, came from Doughboys, and says, when they say they'll chat you up on Instagram, they aren't lying. Jump in and have fun.
I have no life.
Mike says, this pod is on brand for me and is addicted to On Brand since discovering it a little while ago, trying not to binge it because wants it to last forever. How fun is that?
I've heard some people listen to it in like 1.5 speed. He should listen to it in like 1/3 speed.
Yeah, so we're like, I went to Wendy's.
That was mean.
If you haven't left us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, please do that. It really helps out the show. I feel like we've been slow at getting new reviews lately. So if you haven't done it,
I'm going to put that out there.
Okay.
We haven't, Christmas Eve, we got a couple, and then it was, people are busy, you're traveling, but now you're home. If your New Year's resolution was to write us a review, now's the time to do it. It really helps us out. We've been stuck on $2.99 for a week, and it's killing me. Can we at least get it to $300?
You're sitting on your Peloton, you're killing time.
Yeah, just do it.
Give us a 5-star review. It's very meaningful. And we will say this, the Patreon is very close to premiering, so stay tuned for that. And we have another call to action. If there's any podcast that you're a fan of that you think we'd be a good guest on, please feel free to write to that show and say, you got to get On Brand on, right?
I would say you got to get On Brand on your show.
You got to get On Brand on your show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be great. We want to guest on everywhere that you think would make sense for us. And I haven't set it up because I haven't figured out how, but if you have any questions for us, I think that'll be something that we do a lot on the Patreon. Feel free to send us questions anytime you want. I'm keeping a running list of them, and you just may find the answer you're looking for.
I love that. Oh, and before we go, let's have a recurring segment, Icecapades with John. John, where'd you get ice this week?
Okay, so if you don't know, for some reason, Marisa finds it so fascinating. I'm an ice freak. You guys are brand freaks. I'm an ice freak. I have ice in everything that I drink. I have several different containers. I have a water container, a coffee container, a Diet Coke container, and then just 2 random containers. So when I'm out and about, I will stop at a fast food restaurant, sneak in, grab some ice, and go. We now call that my Icecapades. I guess the dumbest one I've had recently was at the Del Taco on Sunset Boulevard on the east side of Hollywood.
Okay.
It was pretty early in the morning. I had gotten, I think, breakfast at McDonald's, but McDonald's no longer has self-serve sodas, so I can no longer Icecapade there. And so I went to the Del Taco.
You're not asking for ice behind the counter, saying, can I have a cup of ice?
That's not a capade.
Oh, okay. You have to sneak in.
Yeah, there's nothing fun about that. So I ran into Del Taco. There was nobody in there. So it was like, but they have a nice like back seat. Like there's like a wall that kind of divides where you order and where you sit. So like I go around the back wall so they don't see, like, not that I'm like a criminal, but like to get to the machine. And then I get to the machine. And the thing that Del Taco does sometimes is they turn it off so people can't ice capade.
Oh, wow.
So I like stick my thing in to like get the, it's like there's something exciting about when you stick it in, you hear the rumble, you know you're about to get the ice. And it's just silent. It just clicks. It's like click. And you're like, oh.
Do you ask them to turn the machine on or do you slink out of there like
slither
a salamander?
out like the ice bitch I am? I did ask them because I just needed ice. I was like, hey, it just defeats the whole capade. I'm like, hey, could I have some ice? They're like, sure. And then they turn it on. And I'm like, thank you. And then I leave. And that's this week's Ice Capade.
And with that, we'll be back next week with an all-new episode.
And just remember, we may go off topic, but we will always be on brand.
Bye.
And soon off brand when we do our Patreon. Oh my God, we're going to have to figure it out. Bye.
Bye.